Melton and Bradley Newberry. Matthew Parker, he is with us here in spirit. We've got his notes. We're going to be talking today about the 2023 AFC South NFL draft grades. Yep. Newberry, I know this is a fan favorite.
Boy, it is. I mean, because we get to share our opinions, assign a letter grade, A through F. We don't stop at C, like Parker said most people do.
Yep.
But it's all fair game. All of our teams will be represented, which is only two, the Titans and the Jags. And we'll also talk about the hated Colts and the Houston Texans. But we appreciate everybody joining us wherever you may be in this world. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 4.
Absolutely, guys. Like Newberry said, thanks for joining us. Go ahead, before we get started, hit that like and subscribe button down there on YouTube. Give us a follow on Rumble. Follow us on all our social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at DDS Sports Talk. You can check out all the audio versions of these podcasts on your favorite podcasting platform. Newberry, I can't wait to hear what Parker has to say about this first team.
I'll try to deliver this as best I can in the way that Parker might have. We're going to start with the Houston Texans.
Oh, boy.
Parker says, we have winners and losers, and Houston, my friends, are losers. In his best Ace Ventura voice that he could. They came out of this with a quarterback. Great. Good job. Way to F it up later. Tank Dell is one of the steals of the draft, but I can't get over they literally may have given up the top pick in next year's draft plus 3 other players for Will Anderson this year. It's going to be worth 3 number 1s and 3 number 2s, the price that they paid. Because of this trade, Houston will be better this year, but it's a very short-sighted view. Mark my words, Houston will wish they were Arizona in 2 years. This, gentleman, is a D.
Okay.
I think a lot of the public like their draft.
I would say so. I mean, but hey, I do agree with Parker. It's a very short-sighted draft that they got. Yes, they got better getting Will Anderson in their organization. Absolutely.
We called him the safest defensive pick.
Yes, absolutely. CJ Stroud, he's going to make them better.
He'll be
absolutely.
Right.
He will.
Be all right.
Tank Dell, you've seen our short that we put out, that Parker put out on his draft for his draft profile. He was an absolute steal for sure. But from the business side of things, when you look long term at what they had to give up to do these things, is it going to pay off in the long run, or is it going to hurt them? Are we going to have? Do we think that the 3 players that we just mentioned there are going to be able to carry you that far into the future that you're not going to be able to get a premium player? That's the big question.
I give them a very, 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 very small pass, and I'll tell you why. They could afford some of this because of the Deshaun Watson haul that they got back from the Cleveland Browns. But it's just 2 organizations with the Browns and the Texans not knowing what to do with this draft capital. They're just throwing it around like it means nothing. 2 teams are short-sighted.
You know, do you think teams just throw around these picks like that because they think some of them will come back to them in some way? I mean, you look at the draft this year. You know, last year as Titans fans, we had to deal with the damn A.J. Brown trade. You know, we were talking before the show. There really wasn't that this year, but it just felt like there was a lot of shuffling around of picks. So do you think the teams make those moves thinking, you know, in one of those drafts, we'll trade for some picks at some point?
What are the Browns going to do? They're going to trade Myles Garrett? I mean, you have to have a wanted commodity to get picks back.
Right.
You're not going to trade Nick Chubb. Well, maybe to the Lions. They'll give a first-round pick for that, or the Falcons.
I don't know.
What are they going to trade?
I don't know.
You got to have a commodity to trade.
I think it's a fair point. All right, my grade here, I'm going a little bit softer than Parker did. I'm going C-. Not much better, but I think a little bit better just because I think, did they make some progress? Yes, they did. Did they make some blunders for their future? That remains to be seen, but it looks like the answer is probably yes also.
Yeah, I'm not going to grade them as low as a D. I'm going B-.
Oh, wow. little bit of love there from Newberry.
B- draft. I'm not saying that they're good. Their draft was okay for what it was.
I mean, look, they got some people in this draft that I think are going to make a difference in their organization. I'll give them that.
I hope they don't.
I mean, look, selfishly, I'm in that same boat with you.
I hope they don't. We're moving on to the Indianapolis Colts. Parker says there's a clear winner and loser in the AFC South. And this is the winner, gentlemen. They drafted the most freak athletes of anyone in the draft. And they can actually play football. If you look at their average RAS, relative athletic score, it's 9.5 out of 10. It's the highest. Irsay said if Richardson wasn't there at 4, Levis would have been the pick. So we nailed them taking the athlete traits guys. Evan Hull is one of my favorite guys in this draft. If you watched the combine, he finished every single drill by taking the ball to the end zone every time. Josh Downs was a steal. Darius Rush. I could go on and on. This is an A from Matthew Two-Tone Blue Parker. An A. And none of us like the Colts, but he respects their draft.
I think they had a good draft. Do I think they have an A? I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously Parker's got a unique way of looking at it from a very analytical and statistical point of view. I will say this, that I think I might have rather had their quarterback that they drafted than the one we drafted at Tennessee.
We ain't talking about the Titans
but we're not there yet.
Gee.
I don't think they did a bad job. I really don't. But I am still going to bet that this is probably still going to be a quarterback carousel there. But that's a whole nother podcast. How did they do in their draft? You know what? I give them a B, a solid B. I'm not going to give them an A just because I don't think that the Colts ever deserve anything close to an A in anything.
Oh, look, I mean, they drafted an A with Anthony Richardson. He showed me that he's a quitter in the Vanderbilt game.
Yeah. That comes to the surface always.
He doesn't have that many games we've talked about. He really hasn't thrown the ball that much in his career because he hasn't had to start. I've said that he would have benefited from not playing this year. I don't know that Gardner Minshew can hold him off. Parker says, look,
he's Philadelphia
Eagles guys up there, and they're just going to make him Hurts 2.0.
Yeah, exactly. I would agree with him on that. I mean,
he's going to come in raw, man. Him and J-Tay, I guess they're going to be throwing to Pittman.
Jr. I mean, I don't know, man. That's going to have to play itself out. I know Gardner Minshew is not going to roll over and die there and just let him have it.
Well, look, if I graded the Houston Texans as a B-, then to be fair, I have to give the Colts a little bit of a higher grade. So I'm going to go just a B.
Yeah, I think it's a fair grade. Honestly, I mean, they did all right. I'm not saying that they did bad. I just don't know that anything that they did was justifiably an A. But maybe I'm just being biased, admittedly.
Yeah. All right, Duval time. My team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Parker says trading back is usually a great idea, but at some point you have to make picks. The Jags kept trading back for picks in a draft that everyone knew is one of the weakest in years. I'm not sure why they valued 10 picks on day 3 so much. My biggest issue in this draft is the strange pick in round 2. The Patriots had one of those last year. Strange tight end from Penn State.
Yeah.
On most draft boards, he was valued as the 150th player. It felt like they reached at the end of the tight end run instead of just starting a run of their own. Much rather would have seen them go for Mayer, an offensive tackle to fill in for Robinson in the 2nd round, much like the Titans. Why a running back in the 3rd? I don't think Tank Bigsby is all that good. The Jags steal the draft is safety Antonio Johnson. Johnson came into 2022 with the 1st round hype. Outside of Strange, my biggest issue is where are the impact players going to be from this draft for the Jaguars? There are a ton of players that they drafted, but how many of them will even make the team, much less see the field? I give this a C, teetering on a B.
I think that Parker pointed out, all during the draft, Brad being the Jaguars fan amongst us, he kept telling us the Jaguars traded back again. It's just a mystery to me.
It was back to back. They traded back, and then now they traded back again.
He also pointed out a very good point. This is one of the weaker drafts, right, in the last few years, right? There's just not a lot of.
It was. When it was happening live, my initial thought was, okay, they're loading up because they're about to make some deal day 2. They're going to package something up and move up to take the corner that they didn't get to take in the first round. But they never did it.
So
maybe they tried and they couldn't.
Corner is what they're looking for. Right?
They definitely need a nickel.
Okay. So how much of that was there
when they kept trading back?
Yeah.
I think there was some there.
So my question is
clearly, I don't know that he's not a nickel.
But the thing is all these other people are going after they're looking at quarterbacks, they're looking at wide receivers, they're looking
people were falling. Hell yeah.
But the thing is I don't think that the Jaguars necessarily, that's not a dire need for them at the moment. Do you think?
What's that?
What of the offensive positions are a huge need for them? Obviously, everybody can always use
some
good offensive line,
some big dudes. How about you might need another tight end-ish type player to go with Evan Ingram, who's just on a franchise tag deal, but that he hasn't even signed yet, by the way.
I always hear you talking about how much cap space they have. The Jaguars seem to always go value every year in the draft.
Well, so this is very strategic planning because very, very soon, whether that's this offseason or the next, they're going to have to pay a shit ton of money to Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. So,
they're hoarding it up.
Yeah. Loading the coffers up, kind of, so to speak.
I definitely think they're loading it up. There's no way to get around not paying. You're going to have to. It's just the market now. If Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray and damn Geno Smith are getting these deals, then they better not let this one get away. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback in the league, but they've got a competent top 10-ish type quarterback.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would agree with you there, but my point is that I think they didn't see a whole lot of stuff that they wanted. I just don't.
And then he got stuck with a bunch of drafts. I can't believe Parker said 10 draft picks in the day 3.
That was weird to me.
Moly,
what is up with that?
That's a bunch of yuck. I really think
that's my thing. Like they're like, we're gonna go down. We're gonna get all this value, and then they're like, oh shit,
we're stuck with all these picks.
We got all these picks. We got to pick somebody.
I don't think they wanted to. I think they wanted to trade all that.
Is there anybody on the board that we want? And they're like, then they just start throwing names out. Because they can't get rid of it.
40.
Right? It's just, that's just my general assessment.
It's a lot. It's
as far as
like
draft
one of those,
grade, it's hard to grade because I don't really know that they got anything done.
Quantity over quality. There's too much.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. They went so much they did the 10 for $10 at Kroger with all these picks.
Yeah.
10 picks for $10,000.
I'm not hating on Tank Bigsby though. Like Parker did. This is a 3rd round pick, not a 1st, not a 2nd.
I'll say if you're talking value, I think that is value there, in my opinion.
Bigsby, he was in the top 10 rushing, I think, in all of college football the last 2 years. He's 1,000-yard rusher in the SEC.
I could get with that. I think Tank Bigsby's a quality.
Really, when that boils down to the Jags, it's, do you want Tank Bigsby or JaMychal Hasty?
Yeah.
Because he was their backup.
Right.
Why not Tank?
And hey, running back is the position that most quickly translates in the NFL. Are you fast? Can you hit a hole?
We got another team that took a running back pretty high.
Yeah. Well, hang on here. Let's talk about
Coming
our
up
grades
soon.
here. We haven't got our grades. All right. Let me give my grade here for the Jacksonville
Parker,
Jaguars.
I wrote down officially a C from Parker. He said teetering on a B, but I gave him the C.
I think I have to go C and bordering probably on a C minus, just because I'm just so confused. And maybe that's just my ignorance.
No, I'm with you guys. I'm giving him a C, man. I am most disappointed in not the first pick. I've come to learn that this guy in a pass happy league in college very, very rarely gives up any pass rush at all. So good pick, even with the Cam Robinson should be suspension coming soon.
Right.
They were going to use him anyway, but too many players. This should have been parlayed into trading up in day 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I grade it down, man. I just too much, not enough quality.
What'd you give it? You gave
C.
it C. Okay.
So we got a C minus, and a C for the Jags.
Yeah.
Local team time. The Tennessee Titans. Let's see what Parker has written up here. Hang in there. I haven't read this this paragraph yet.
Yeah, and then what a paragraph it is. I can see it from here.
He says, people, that's why I dislike some of the players in this draft, and they're missing the point. I actually love the players. Skoronski is amazing. And you get a QB that could have gone in the top 5. Irsay said he would have taken Levis. The value on Levis is just too high from my point of view. Can't get excited about it. Spears is where my problem begins with the Tennessee Titans. Not because of Spears. By most experts, he's a top 5 running back in the draft. The problem is the cost of missed opportunity. I understand you draft for depth and use free agency for the need. But the Titans needed a wide receiver. They could have easily picked up an undrafted free agent as a running back. We've talked about this endlessly on our podcast. I assume they view him as a pass catcher. Duncan was projected as an early second rounder a couple of months ago. To get him in the 6th round is insane value. This is also a class of athlete outside of Indy. They have the highest RAS score of players drafted. Most analytical people I listen to and trust have the Titans as a top 5 draft class. I'm going to be optimistic that they have a plan at wide receiver. They have to. If they add a wide receiver, I'm giving this draft a B. If they don't, it's the middle of the road C. So this is a lot. It's like a damn swing. Like it goes up, down.
Well, I mean, look, every Titans fan, I think let me rephrase that because that's not true. I was going to say, I think every Titans fan was probably okay with taking Peter Skoronski. But I'm going to tell you right now, not everybody was okay with it. I think those people are idiots. I really do.
Who that?
Because Jared freaking Stillman.
Whoa,
I'll call him by name. I don't give a shit. That guy's an idiot.
Who does he work for?
I don't give a fuck who he works for. He wouldn't work for me.
1025 The Game.
Whatever.
Nashville.
Nobody listens. It doesn't matter. But my thing is like, if a offensive lineman of that caliber is available, you have to take him. I was encouraged by that action from Rand Carthon. I mean, I was like, oh, that is a logical thing to do, in my opinion. Then we move into round 2. And then the pick that resonated around Two-Tone Blue
If you
Nation.
were watching our podcast, Blake
I had a
melted
meltdown.
down live
I couldn't
as
even,
we were recording.
I couldn't focus. I just couldn't. Absolutely couldn't. I'm not a fan of this draft. I know a lot of people are saying that this is a great, draft class from us. I don't know that I see that. I see, Skronsky, obviously, for me, is the bright spot. Will Levis, hey, he's a big, strong, athletic-looking kid. He runs drills very well. I saw him play.
Spears? You're the medical person on this.
I'm getting there, but let me say this.
All right.
Will Levis, we watched Will Levis play a lot. We're SEC fans.
We've even talked back and forth with Kentucky fans in our chats.
I don't care which way you try to spin it. The kid's not accurate. Accuracy issues. Word on the street is he interviewed, and that could be hearsay, he interviewed terribly whenever the Titans brought him in, supposedly. I just don't know that this was the quarterback to take. I don't know. I don't know what the mindset is there. I don't see him being ready anytime soon, even if he is going to be a project. I agree with Parker. I think if you're going offense, you need to be getting wide receivers, but we've drafted a quarterback, and then we turn around and we draft a freaking running back with no ACL in his knees. Now, the ACL, obviously, a lot of people know about it because it's a popular injury or whatever. All that cutting that everybody does on Sundays and Saturdays is usually because they have an intact ACL. It allows their femur not to slide off of the top of their tibia.
Oh God!
So everybody said, "Well, he played this whole last year with it like that." Well, that doesn't mean anything. Okay, I mean, not to mention, obviously, we're going to turf this year, so maybe that helps. I don't know, but we have a history of being a very injury-prone organization. And this is kind of I've heard a lot of people, and I thought it was very well said, say that this is kind of an homage to J-Rob for drafting an injured player. I don't understand it.
No way. There would not be a tie back to J-Rob.
No, I'm just saying I think they're just saying it's ironic. But for me, man, I really don't like a lot about our draft class. I don't feel like that we got very much in the way of, we got a wide receiver. We got one from Tennessee Tech, local guy. He's from Lebanon, grew up a Titans fan. That's a great story and all, man. And look, I hope he turns out great. But look, right now, Nick Westbrook-Akine is our number 2 receiver. That's not okay in my eyes. Not saying Nick Westbrook-Akine is not a good guy. I'm just saying, judging by his performance on the field, if that's our number 2 guy behind Treylon Burks, who was injured a lot of last year and who's still kind of trying to find his way in the NFL, and Kyle Phillips, who's basically going to have a repeat of his rookie year because he was injured the whole year, man, we really needed a pass catcher. We really did, but we didn't do it. C. It's got to be a C for me. I know it sounds like chalk to everybody, but honestly, I think they hit a home run with Skronsky. I think Will Levis, I'm more than happy to be proven wrong. I'm a Titans fan for sure.
You were,
but I am.
You were F.
He is.
Mouth.
I mean, look, man, he has got to improve tremendously in order to be able to overcome the flaws that we witnessed him having in college. But we'll see. Maybe he can. I don't know. I'm just saying, he came from a place in Kentucky that had a dog shit offensive line. Well, guess what? The Titans have right now. It's a dog shit offensive line, and now they're trying to piecemeal it back together, but it ain't gonna be perfect right away. I gave him a C.
Oh man, so tough, man. Skronsky, when he's saying, "I'm looking to knock the piss out of some defensive linemen," that's an A+.
Yeah.
Will Levis holding on to mommy's knee during the draft. That's a D. And then drafting, it doesn't matter. I mean, drafting a a player without an ACL. I mean, shit, he played all last year without the ACL. So that may just add up to be maybe he doesn't play into his 30s, whatever. But it feels like blatantly ignore wide receiver. Yuck.
I don't get it, right? Because at that point, there were still a lot of really good prospects on the board, right? I mean, Cedric Tillman was still there. I'm not saying that just because I'm a Tennessee guy. He was a very highly touted prospect. I don't think Jalen Hyatt would have been a great fit, but he was there too. But I think he would probably been a better pickup than some of the other guys that they got. But the debate will continue all off season until we see some preseason games and some drills being ran by players at training camp.
So my final grade, I'm going C. I'm putting them right there with the Jags, with the lowest draft grades from me. But it doesn't mean that these two teams are the worst teams in the division. I just didn't think much of either one of their drafts.
I mean, obviously, you don't win or lose your game. Your all of your games in April, right?
No.
But I mean, obviously, you're looking towards the future, and it kind of gives you an indication of how the organization is going to function. So, I don't know, man. So, overall, how would you grade the AFC South versus the rest of the folks out there?
Look, as a unit, the perception is this is one of the worst, if not the worst, divisions in football.
No doubt.
I mean, there were some good drafts. Last week, we talked about our winners and losers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of these teams did as bad as some of the ones that we mentioned last week with the Jets and the Cardinals. And
I don't view them either.
Falcons.
I don't view any of these teams in the winners or the losers bracket.
They're just kind of,
Indianapolis, Parker gave them an A. I don't think they're quite deserving of that, but I don't think they're really winners, but I don't really think they're losers in the draft. But I mean, that's kind of par for the course for the AFC South, right? We just kind of meander along and beat up on each other and come out with an 8-8 record or whatever.
Here comes a 9-8 division.
Yeah, exactly. Nice car. Sorry, I forgot about 17. 9-8.
You get a home game in the NFL playoffs.
Exactly. But I would say we're kind of, middle of the road. I mean, there's nothing special about anything that we did in any of these teams did in the draft, in my opinion.
I mean, what it looks like is all these teams are going to have young quarterbacks. That's assuming I'm taking Tannehill out of the equation.
We'll get into that later.
You're looking at Levis, Stroud, Richardson, Trevor.
Might be the youngest quarterback core in a conference, rather, in all of football.
And I swear, I think you have a picture down here that's of those four. It's actually Will Levis is the oldest of the group.
He is the elder statesman at 23 years old.
Would be the oldest starting quarterback in the AFC South.
23-inch biceps, 23 years old. Will Levis. Tennessee Titans. Can't believe that I had to say that. It hurts me.
Won't be the last time.
It really does. Absolutely.
Tell us, did we grade them right? Did we grade them wrong? What did we miss in our analysis? Down below, you can just simply leave your grades, but let's get interactive with this one.
Absolutely, guys. Leave those comments down below. Also, hey, you all know these are going to be coming later on in the year. We're going to be doing our prediction shows and things like that. If you've got ideas of people we need to have on this show to talk about these teams in these individual conferences, let us know who they are. We'll have them on the show. We'll get their takes and their predictions for their conference as well. But guys, Really appreciate you joining us. As always, go ahead down below, hit that like and subscribe button, share this video with all your friends. Check out all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at DDS Sports Talk. You can also catch all these audio podcasts on your favorite podcasting platform. Newberry, you got anything else before we go? We're not going to do final thoughts today, but this being a special edition, you got any final thoughts on the AFC South draft?
Let's just think of it as new. It feels like it's good, the start of a new beginning where the AFC South is going to try to rise out of this bottom feeding that they're in. Hope springs eternal. And we're about to take a break for a few weeks, but we will keep putting out shorts.
Absolutely. And anytime that anything big comes up, we might just pop right back up. You never know.
We'll be right back for a little NFL schedule release, and then we'll take our break.
Absolutely. All right, guys. As always, two-tone blue all the way. You guys be well.